Hey friends, welcome back to Joy at Work. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe. Arsenal's still top of the table, so that's great. World Cup qualifiers coming up here, international break. So hoping the Super Eagles can at least make it out of the African zone into the next round of the playoffs. So we'll see. So these are tense and interesting times that we're in. But let's continue talking about the things that we can do to experience joy at work. And I'm really thankful for those who join and shout out and send messages and ask questions. Thanks a lot. And somebody asked me to talk a little bit more about the concept of fantasy, at least the Lacanian view or frame of it. So, not fantasy as a daydream or a story, something imaginary, but fantasy as Lacan like frames it and expresses it. And I think this is really important when you think about it in the context of life and for me and what this vlog is about, the workplace. So fantasy, if I were to really summarize it, and this is really distilling it, well, I'm trying to distill it down to its basic construct or structure, is the internal stories we create sometimes and quite often, like unconsciously, actually, I should say, it's these unconscious stories we create of what we need to do to address the lack or the desires that we have in our lives. And so the fantasy is a story that I set in myself or the story that I create that holds the frame for the beliefs that I have based on something that I lack. It's that simple. So if I feel like I lack love, then I create a story that I need to do certain things to experience love, and then I enact that fantasy by doing a number of things with the hopes that that love that I'm lacking will be filled or met or whatever the right word there is. But it's really this notion of I have the desire for a thing that is not met, that it's not fulfilled. And so unconsciously, I create a script, and that script underlays my actions, my decisions, my behaviors as I chase after that thing and as I try to achieve or close that gap. It's a great way to think about it. And fantasy allows me to keep my anxiety in check because I've got a game plan. I've got something that I can do that I believe is going to get me towards meeting that gap. If I'm not being recognized at work and I want recognition, then I create the story that says to be recognized, I need to work harder. I need to speak up more. I do whatever I need to. I kind of create that story, and that serves as a foundation for my actions from that point forward. So I raise my hand all the time, or I've got something to say, or I've got to be in every meeting. That's where that behavior is coming from. So it's a fantasy that I have, and the fantasy is really what I put in place to close that gap and to sort of manage my personal anxiety. So that's what fantasy is, like bare bones. There's a lot to it, candidly, that's really hard to like express in a really short vlog like I like to do here. But just one of the interesting things about it is really stopping to explore your fantasies and starting by identifying what you might deem or call lack in your life and then saying, what am I doing or what have I put in place to like close the gap between what I desire and sort of where I am today. So we'll explore this concept a little bit more because I think it really is important when we think about how many of us go about trying to achieve our desires in the workplace and how it unfortunately robs us of joy that we could experience. All right, that's it. Hopefully, it helps the individuals who asked for a little bit more on what I meant by fantasy, and I'll see you soon. Bye.